Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Ask Jimmy Smith. Today, I'm super excited to be bringing to you a presentation that Ryan Reger and I have worked on. And for those of you that don't know Ryan, I've been on his podcast. We've worked together for a long time. And so I'm excited to be talking to you tonight with Ryan about your Amazon success framework, something that we've seen work for over 1,000 successful students at this point. And Ryan is a dear friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. So Ryan, would you mind giving a little bit of an introduction to those of my audience that may not know your name yet?
Of course. Well, Jimmy, the feelings are mutual. A dear friend of mine as well. Thank you for having me on your Ask Jimmy Smith show. Is this a show?
I guess, yeah. This is the first YouTube live I've done. So
cool.
Yeah, this is the Ask Jimmy Smith show. I like it.
I love it. Let's kick it off right here. The Ask Jimmy Smith show. I'm your first guest. Right. No, guys, I'm Ryan Reger. So I haven't had a real job since 2008. I'm grateful for that. God has been good, blessed us, and started selling furniture on Craigslist, and then moved to Amazon and eBay, and then fell in love with teaching other people how to do this. And just honored that Jimmy looks to me as somebody that's helped him get to where he is, because he would be like clearly one of the best students that I say I've ever had. It feels weird saying you're a student of mine, Jimmy, because you far surpassed me.
I'm a student of yours.
Absolutely. But I love helping people make money online. I have a book called Streams of Income, podcast called Streams of Income. Jimmy, you've been a guest on that several times now. And yeah, just honored to share with your audience some cool things we've got going on together.
Yeah, me too. And for anybody that needs to know or wants to know, Ryan's website, ryanreger.com. It's pretty simple. You've got a good name for it. I don't have the name for it. I can't get jimmysmith.com. So that's why everything is Ask Jimmy Smith. But
that's kind of hard. Yeah, man.
Yeah, the struggle's
a little bit less common.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, so tonight I'm excited to go through the Amazon Success Framework that we've seen work for so many different people, Ryan. And actually, we did this webinar to your audience a week or so ago. And I thought it went so well that we decided to, for this live, actually play that webinar for you, because I thought it was as perfect as a webinar could go, in my opinion, for teaching content. So we're going to play that webinar for you. But what we're also going to do is leave time at the end for questions. So be leaving comments below this video. Let me know your questions as we're going through these things, and I'll make sure to either respond during the video or after. So we want to make sure that, you get all of your questions answered for anything that comes up with the Amazon Success Framework. We had a good portion of questions at the end of the one that we did together, Ryan, and we've cut that off, obviously, for the purposes of this video. But we'll definitely leave some time for that at the end. But yeah, it went so well. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Ryan, or if you wanted to add anything before I bring up that video.
No, just enjoy, guys, and feel free to ask us questions. And those of you watching the recording later too, as well, feel free to post questions and we'll get back to you.
Absolutely. I'll make sure to respond to any questions that come up after the recording's done. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring that up and we'll start the presentation.
Oh, I love your story. I don't know if we'll hopefully get a chance to tell a little bit about it, how you got started. But guys, the impetus for tonight is just to talk about how to be successful on Amazon. This is not so much, we're not going to share screens and show you profitable products. It's going to be sharing with you some folks that have been successful. Obviously, Jimmy's very successful with his Amazon business. We're going to point out other people that have, but like, what are the traits of a successful e-commerce seller, especially on Amazon? What are some of the myths that you might have heard? Maybe some of you have not got started, or you're brand new and there's some things that are stopping you. We want to bust some of those myths about selling online. We just want to encourage you tonight, for those of you that may be stuck or just getting started. You think Q4 is coming up and you want to have an awesome Q4. We want to just kind of a dose of encouragement of what it takes to be successful as an Amazon seller. So that's going to be kind of the gist of it tonight. But we're going to talk a lot with Jimmy about how he got to where he is, and now that he's a leader and has his own group, what he's seeing in other people. Because I believe that success leaves clues, and we'll talk about that. Like, what are people doing? You see a lot of similarities in people's businesses. Jimmy, as you know, businesses look completely different. You have a very large Amazon business, and you got employees, you got a warehouse, and now you're doing a lot of wholesale stuff, and you've got a software that you have now. Some people have no desire to go that direction, but that does not mean that they can't be successful. It's just, what does that look like for you? But I believe that what you did to get to your level is the same thing that I would do if I'm starting from zero and I want to get to 20,000 a month. So I think it's just going to be the same stuff, but you just did it over and over and over again, and you did it at another level. And so I just want to encourage you guys tonight that this is possible, that you can be successful. I got an email today from somebody that said, I've tried Amazon, I've tried Etsy, I've tried eBay, and it's just not working for me. Like, what am I doing wrong? I bet that's a mindset issue for that person, because now that we've seen so many success stories, we know what it takes. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So that's the framework. So Jimmy, tell us about our promise to them.
Yeah. So, well, you kind of just went through our promise a little bit, but our promise
Sorry.
is that by the end of this, if you've been in the communities and whatnot for a while, like, Ryan, me, you've been in the Proven Conference and stuff. I saw somebody mention that they couldn't make it this year, but a lot of this, you've seen the foundations, right? But we've never really, in Legends Group, we talk quite a bit about the foundation, the framework of, what it is that it takes you from a beginner to an advanced stage. And so tonight, our promise to you is to go through that framework, show you, no matter where you're at in this, ladder, so to speak, you're going to see the next steps that's required to hit the goals that you have for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And so we talked about the Amazon Success Framework. And the reason we say that is because, as Ryan mentioned, success can look different to many different people, right? We're not saying that you have to go to $100,000 a month or, $50,000 a month to be successful. You can really chart your own journey, but we're going to show you the steps tonight, the different levels essentially to get to where your goal is. And so that's our promise, is to show you the framework for going from where you are now to where you want to go to become the successful Amazon seller that you desire to be.
Absolutely. So let's jump into this. And the first thing we want to do is bust some myths about selling online. So walk us through these and some of the things that you hear people talking about, and let's destroy each one of those.
Yeah. So, we've done this for at least teaching other people. We've done this, or I've done this for 3 years. You've done it for longer than that, right? Because I came up through your programs and whatnot. But over that time, I've seen a bunch of different, limiting beliefs that people have whenever they're trying to grow their business, get into the replens model, get into any kind of business or e-commerce space. I've done a lot of different things, training people in regular businesses offline as well as on Amazon. And many times we have the same limiting beliefs, the same things that I personally believe are myths that are more of a mental roadblock for most people. The first one, as you can see on the screen, if you're watching this, is that it costs too much money. A lot of people believe that they're going to get into selling online, but it's going to cost too much money. Like it takes money to make money, right? That's the age-old saying. It takes money to make money. And what we've seen through tons of success stories is that people can start with $100. You can even start with $0 and go take stuff out of your pantry, or instead of doing a garage sale, sell the stuff on eBay for more money, right? And then you can start to build up a nice reserve of capital so that then you can take it and buy inventory for Amazon or, grow your eBay business. So I just want to bust that first, because I think for many people, they just think that they don't have an opportunity because they think that they need to make more or have more money before they can even start. And that's just not true. You can truly start at zero if you needed to. It's obviously going to be a slower process than if you had, $1,000 to get started with, but it's valuable learning lessons that you're going to have, and you truly can start with things around your house. Or if you got nothing around your house that you can sell, partner with neighbors, right? Go talk to neighbors that just want to get rid of their old stuff, then you can split the profits with them if you list it onto different platforms. So there's so many different opportunities to come at this and start from zero and grow into whatever goal you have from an Amazon success standpoint.
Jimmy, if I took away all your Amazon success right now, every product gone, are you confident that you could build it back up? If you start and you had no money to start with, I took away all your money. Are you confident that you could build your Amazon business back up to where it is now?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's something I've thought about a lot. There's so many different ways to make money online. But I think as soon as I can't answer that question is yes, I'll stop training, right? If that ever happens, and then there's no reason to talk about it anymore. If I don't believe that I could restart from zero if I needed to.
Yeah. What do
because
you if there's some, because I guarantee there's people watching that are maybe not have literally $0 to start with, they just maybe have $100, but let's talk about for zero just for a second. What would you do right away? Well, what's some of the things that you would consider doing to build it back up?
So there's a few different things. If you have $100 for inventory, so with Amazon, if you want to do FBA, it can cost, like $40 a month or whatever to have that ability. And it's a little bit of a slower go. I would probably, if I had $100, start with eBay, just because you can buy stuff for extremely cheap from garage sales and other places, and build up to $500 decently quickly, right? If you're buying the right products. Now, if you've got $100 for inventory and some extra money to, put into like Amazon, the selling account, and getting boxes and shipping to Amazon, that'd probably be about $200 to $250. Then I would start with Amazon. I would look for what we've termed as replenishable products that you can go buy at full price on store shelves, retail stores, online stores, and you can send it into Amazon at a markup and make a good income. But for those that are starting with less money, you need to find products that are making probably over 100% return on your investment. So if you're spending $5, you need to make at least $5 profit. And that's what I would look for. So I would start with a higher return on investment. If I had the ability to do it on Amazon, I personally would do that because it's a little bit more scalable. But if you have only $100, like that's all you got, I would start with eBay because you can get inventory a lot cheaper with much higher markups to sell. So those are the two different routes I would go with that, depending on what the situation was.
Love it. Next one, too complicated.
Yeah, and so that's a difficult one because I know everybody's got different levels of technological experience, right? I'm decent with technology. I'm not like the best with it, but I've seen people that are younger than me by 5-10 years get started in this business, and I've seen retired families get started in this business. So if for whatever reason, if you feel like you're not technologically literate, right, you're not very good with computers and whatnot, there are plenty of success stories that prove otherwise, that you can learn anything with the technology here. What we've been able to do through replenishable products, where you're just going out and finding things on store shelves and selling it on Amazon at a markup, we've been able to show and systemize the process of finding those products. So it's very basic. All you have to do is type in the brand name and the type of product, right? If it's Altoids mints, right? You can do Altoids cinnamon, and you'll see a bunch of different options on Amazon. Click into those, see if they're profitable, and then you can check one other software program. It's very simple to do that. And you also need to realize that with any business, there's going to be difficulties and there's going to be complications that come into this. It doesn't mean that it's too complicated. It just means that if you're focused on the complications, many times it's because you're focused on the big picture versus the step-by-step that you need to be taking. And so my encouragement for people that are starting is to just focus on the thing that you need to be focused on, whether it's going out and looking up products, okay? You find products, you bring them home, and you worry about the prep and ship then, right? Which is still fairly simple process. There's free videos online to do that. Tons of training online as well. So it's a very simple process. And we've seen so many success stories that I think that one is also, busted because of how many people have been successful with that framework. But I don't know, what are your thoughts on it, Ryan? You see a lot of different people come through as well.
Yeah, I do. I mean, obviously, I think about my dad who passed away in January. He was not as technologically inclined as me because he didn't grow up with this. Well, neither did I. I mean, I don't want to tell people how old I am, but I don't care. Just turned 47, and so I didn't even see the internet existed until my freshman year of college. So, but then kids nowadays are just so used to the stuff it's second nature for them. But all to say, I've seen all people that at all different ages be successful at this. So I think any excuse anybody could throw at us, we could find somebody in our community that has overcome almost that exact thing. There's an episode with Lisa Morrison Larson that Jim did that is amazing. Just talks about how, she's got some crazy tough things that she's going through, especially health-wise, and she's got a successful Amazon business. So I don't think I think a lot of this, guys, is mindset. If you believe you can do it, you can. And that's why we're here. We want to help. We want to help anybody who has the will to learn and is ready to do it. You can overcome it. Is it going to be harder for some than others? Sure. Yeah. Just certain circumstances may make it more difficult. But I'd rather have a business than have to go back to a regular job. So I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen, and we're here to help you.
Yeah, exactly. And so I know you talked about Lisa Larson's episode, but there was also, can never remember her name, somebody that started out homeless, right? And then
Carolyn McFall.
That's it. Yeah, I thought it was Carolyn something. I could never remember that. But she's got an awesome book about that story too.
She does.
So yeah, I mean, you can, if you've got the will, there's definitely a way to make it work online through many different platforms. But specifically Amazon is more my experience and forte. But going on to the next one, too much time in terms of the business, right? It's going to take me too much time to do this. That is a very popular myth. And we've got plenty of examples in this community, in the Legends community, the Replens community, that people have, like Honey Woods, right? She has 6 children. She's running her business all herself, right? We've got Kate and Nate Chaddock that have grown an amazing business with a bunch of kids through doing this with family. So if you've got multiple children, you just feel like you don't have any time, you truly can. Or if you've got a lot of responsibilities and you don't feel like you have enough time, it really comes down to priorities at that point, right? Maybe instead of spending some time on social media or watching TV, you dedicate time to learning about the business and starting to grow it. Or maybe you make the sacrifice. Maybe you actually aren't wasting time on social media and television. You truly don't have time, but maybe you take the sacrifice for a set period of time and stay up an extra 30 minutes a day or an extra hour. I personally think if you've got 5 to 10 hours a week, 5 would be the minimum. That's where you're going to start seeing some success doing this. 10 is preferable, but you can do this with an extra hour a night in your business while also taking the weekends off, right? We actually started in our business. We didn't do anything or much during the week. We did it all during the weekends, right? Because we, didn't have kids or anything. And so that was how we chose to do it. So if you've got the will to, dedicate time to this business, you'll be able to find the time to make it work. And that's what's important, is what is your desire there? Do you have the ability to make time for this business? Did you have something to say, Ryan? I heard you.
No, it's good. Responding to folks. Peter's asking. It's they said that we're over 65. Is that too old? We're selling on Amazon now, but it's been slow. Said not at all. I have a friend in his 80s that's doing this, and you probably can point to other folks that are older than 65 that are making this happen. It's just I mean, it may be harder for some folks than others, but you can do this, and that's what we're here to tell you, because we're going to point to lots of success stories tonight of people that are doing it, and we just want to inject some encouragement into you.
Yeah, exactly. And that comes down to the last myth as well, that a lot of people just think, well, maybe I just can't do it, right? Whether you've tried to do a bunch of other businesses online, you've tried offline businesses, maybe you've tried real estate, you've tried cryptocurrencies, you've tried other things that have come through. Maybe they were scams, or maybe they were good business opportunities that you just didn't connect with. And so a lot of times whenever you take that mental burden and you continually tell yourself that it was your fault or that you didn't learn anything from that process, then you can start to psych yourself out and think that maybe you're just not good enough to do this, right? And that's something a lot of people, I think, struggle with in going through this. I've been through that in actually recent scenarios where I've got new responsibilities and I start thinking, well, maybe I can't do this. Like maybe I'm a one-trick pony, so to speak, right? And so you just have to realize, like, hey, you're learning a ton with all these other opportunities that maybe you've tried, or maybe you haven't tried anything and you think you don't have enough experience. Either way, you've got the ability to see all of the success stories. We've got the process and the framework we'll show you tonight for how to go from zero to whatever your Amazon success goal would be. And there's just so much opportunity. Personally, I want to also encourage people to not judge their success immediately off of sales results, but to judge their success based off of the process and the steps they're taking to learn and grow in their business. So if you feel like you can't do it, especially, you need to make sure that how you judge your success is based off of activities you control, not based off of sales numbers that maybe you can't control everything, right? Because
That's
you're
good.
letting go of inventory to Amazon. So if you
Yeah.
say, hey, for the next 6 months or for a year, I'm going to take these actions and then I'm going to reevaluate how it's gone, if I even like
Yeah.
doing this business, I think you're going to see a lot more results from taking action and then judging those actions accordingly to see eventually how those sales results went, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's
Jimmy, I'd like to get curious to know your answer to this. Like, you and I, seen other businesses, we've tried other stuff before. Why selling physical products? Why are we telling them to do this instead of saying, hey, go get a Subway franchise, or get into a multi-level marketing company, which, I have friends that do that and are doing well. But what do you think is so unique about selling physical products that that would cause us to tell like everybody that they can do it? Because I don't think I would say that about a Subway franchise necessarily, or or open up a restaurant. That sounds like, wow, bless those who do that, because I like to eat. But man, I think that would be very, very hard to open up a restaurant and make that successful.
Yeah. So for me, the reason that I push Amazon so much, and just so everybody knows, I've tried, oh goodness, I've spent so much money on courses and different ways to make money online. It's not even
Me too.
fun. It's in the tens of thousands of dollars over 5 to 7 years. Like, it's a lot. And so I've tried a lot of different things, and I continually come back to this opportunity as the lowest hanging fruit one, right? The one that is very simple to understand. It's not easy, right? It requires hard work, but it is a very simple model. Plus, you can do it with little amount of capital invested up front. Additionally, you can see sales history. So whenever you're getting into this, you can see how things are selling. Like, you can't do that with other businesses. If I decide to go get a retail storefront, they might say, hey, look at all the traffic we get, but you can't make people come into your store. You can't judge if people will be interested. With this model, you can see sales history, the pricing history, the seller history, competition. All of it is laid out. And so it's super simple to figure this out. Again, it is hard work, but it is a simple model. And so for me, that is the coolest thing. Plus, from that point, once you learn the simplicity of it, once you learn how Amazon works, how to do a shipment, what products sell on Amazon, how listings should look, not necessarily work. You don't have to build any listings with the methods that I teach, but how they should look. You've got more knowledge than 95% of the world, if not 99% of the world out there, so that then you can turn those skills into other streams of income if you so desire, right? You can take your physical product knowledge and turn it into consulting knowledge, turn it into books, turn it into whatever. And so me, I'm passionate about it. I know a lot of people can probably see it, but I've seen so many success stories. It's just at this point, there's 100% belief in the model, even as more people get into it, which is another myth I think that I should have probably put on here. Is it oversaturated, right? Is there too many sellers now? And it's not. It's continued to grow. I actually did a YouTube video on the seller history and the growth of sellers, but then also the drop. It's usually roughly the same, just because of counterfeit sellers and people move on to other opportunities. So but Amazon's continued to grow. So anyway, I'm off the soapbox.
No, that's good. And you also, Melissa says she hates MLMs. And you also don't have to call your friends and family and say, hey, you can buy my products.
No, in fact, it's illegal on Amazon if you do that. They'll shut you down.
You better not do that. And I'm glad that you said that you can see sales history, because I remember a friend of mine who used to have a Shopify store. When he started selling on Amazon, he's like, this feels like cheating, because he can actually see, you can see the data. The data will tell you what to buy. You never have to guess at what is selling. Now, does that mean that you're going to see something that's selling and buy 500 of that? No, you're going to buy 2 or 3 and test it out still. But you have data that tells you people are buying this product. This is how many of this product people are buying. So it does feel like, wow, you have a huge leg up. The risk is so crazy low that I second everything you said. To me, it's the lowest hanging fruit opportunity, and somebody can get in with no money and no experience and build a serious business. So
and I'll add one thing to me that stands out. So in our business, 80% of the time, roughly, we're going to be successful in picking products. We're going to make money on those products. Now, 10% of the time we'll break even, and 10% of the time we'll lose a little bit of money. Okay. Now, even if you're brand new and you're just buying products and you're just trying to figure it out, and you're at 50% of the time you're successful, 25% you lose, 25% you break even. Like if I gave you those odds in the stock market or in real estate, every dollar in the world would flood to that opportunity,
That's
right?
true.
But because this requires some different, analysis, it's just a different animal for most people. They just stay away from it. And I know so many people that come into the community with, they're starting with $100. So they freak out if they're losing 10% on a product that they're testing. But if you spent $2 on it, then you just lost 20 cents. You just got $1.80 back, and you're probably successful on the other products, that you're sending in, as long as you're buying the right things, right? I can't guarantee that. I can't say, hey, you're going to always buy the right things, because you go out there and just, make it up and buy whatever you see. But, if you're buying the right products based off the trainings, you will be able to see a good result in the, as you move forward. So that has been something that stood out to me, and why, I continually talk about this opportunity.
Yep. I love it. Me too. All right. Well, I love your story, and I talk about you often because you're just a perfect example of somebody who's built a very successful Amazon business and then created multiple streams of income from that knowledge. You now have your own group. You've written a book, you've got software, all from this. So it's just super cool. And being, my podcast being called Streams of Income, you're a poster child for that exact strategy. And I love it. So I know we're here to talk about mostly your, how you got started selling online. So let's talk about that. But tell me your story.
Well, I'll preface the story by saying, if it weren't for you, Ryan, none of this would be here. Okay.
Well,
so I want you to know that that means a lot. Everything that has happened over the last 3 to 4 years, I guess 4 years, in our business has been a direct result of knowing you and working with you and being in your community. So
thank you.
I always want to put that out there for people that are listening to this. So our story, back in December of 2015, Brittany and I decided to start selling on Amazon. And we were looking at 2 different opportunities. One was real estate and going into a coaching program there. And one was with the Jim Cockrum community and their, coaching there. And so we decided to go with the Amazon opportunity. We jumped in and we learned quite a bit, right? We decided that we would start doing arbitrage, which is, like I described earlier, buying products from retail stores and selling it on Amazon or other marketplaces. And we were doing the clearance model. We did that for about 2 to 2.5 years. We were pretty successful with it. I mean, we were doing about $10,000 to $15,000 a month in clearance products, just constantly going out, finding new things, sending it into Amazon, and just having to go back out and find those things again. Well, a couple years in, Ryan, you started with Danny the Legends group, right? At the time called Amazon Legends, now Business Building Legends group, and we learned about replenishable products for the first time, which was the basics of going out, finding full price products at Walmart, Target, Walgreens, wherever, and selling them on Amazon for a markup. And because we're providing all that service, we've got to, pay for Amazon fees. There naturally has to be a markup there. And there's a lot of customer service there that goes with it through Amazon as well. But once we learned about the replens method, Brittany and I decided, hey, you know what? We're going to completely pivot our business from clearance. While we'll still do some clearance stuff as we get the opportunity, we wanted to fully focus on replens. And so after, a few days of trying to learn the process and how to find them, we started to get successful, right? And we talk about it in the course. At a certain point, like a light bulb goes off and you just start to see replenishable products everywhere. And so at that point, it was about 4 or 5 months later, we were doing about $20,000 a month, but it was all replens. So within the span of 4 to 5 months, we went from $0 of replens to like $20,000 a month in replens. And that's when we went to a Legends conference and we talked to you about when should I quit my job. And that was the advice you gave me, which I still preach to this day. It doesn't apply for everybody, right? Use at your own risk. Don't sue me. But the advice that you gave was once you're at 50% of what you're making in your job, you have the ability, the right mindset to think, well, if I were to quit my job, I'm going to have a bunch of extra time to spend on my business, and then I can grow it. right?
Mhm.
Now, that was the line of thinking that we went with. And in February of that year, I quit my job. I had to do a 60-day notice to my job because I sold insurance. And so there's a whole process there. But over those 2 months, I was removed from that business, was able to focus on Amazon. And I tried to do everything, right? Instead of instead of doing just replens, I tried to do, and this is where I bought all the courses, that, or a lot of the courses that I mentioned earlier. And from that point, nothing was growing because I tried to do everything instead of focusing on the one thing that worked. And so once we realized a couple months in that I'd quit my job and our income was basically cut in half, or just because it wasn't growing, we decided to focus fully on replens. From there, we realized to do that, we needed to get some people to help us prep and ship. And not everybody has to go this path, by the way. There's prep and ship companies. There's all types of different ways you can outsource. We decided to get a warehouse, rent one, and it was pretty inexpensive for us, get employees to prep and ship, and then we would spend all of our time sourcing. So in the matter of 2 months, we went from about $25,000 in June of 2018. July, we did 35,000. That's when we got our first employees and trained them. And then in August, we did $70,000.
Wow.
The reason is because we took all the time we were spending prepping and shipping, or procrastinating the prep and ship. And we were able to put it towards sourcing, right? Which allowed us to bring in more income. From there, we started to outsource more and more things. And the next Legends conference, almost a year later in May, you had me do a presentation at the Legends conference on our process of going from $0 to $100,000 per month outside of Q4, because I don't count those numbers as, when we officially hit it. And so I went through that process, and then that turned into the replenishable products course, which has had 1,000+ success stories at this point over the last 3 years. So that is my story, right? Since then, we've continued to work on the business. We add in more streams of income. I love doing the coaching and training and YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much my story. So I don't know if there's anything I missed. You've probably heard that story like
no, it's all good. And we're going to talk about I want to get into the meat of it too, of like how you did that. Because that's what's going to help people the most. Real quick, let's touch on Melissa's question. So basically the same question we hear a lot from folks is that, great, you made $1 million in a month, you made $1 million in a year in sales. What does that equate to in profit? And you typically share some of those numbers. So what does 75,000 in sales look like profit wise?
So it will depend on how you got to the 75. But typically what I say is, before we outsourced, which was at about $25,000 a month, we were making between 30 to 35% profit margins. Okay. You had about 100% return on our investment. So if we were spending $1,000, we were making $1,000 profit. And we were making 30 to 35%. After we outsourced, it's dropped down to about 15% of a profit margin. And our ROI, our return on investment, went to 70%. So if we spent $1,000, we were making 700. Okay. Now some people might be like, well, why would you outsource then if your profit margin went in half? Well, we were able to go from 25,000 up to 100. So we were able to quadruple our numbers. So essentially doubling our profit, our total profit. So that's why we did that. Not everybody has to do that. I've seen people scale now this business, and I didn't think it was possible to scale it by yourself past 40, 50 grand a month. And I've seen people do it to like $100,000 a month.
Yeah, like Oscar Matumbo, for example.
It's just, it depends on your work ethic at that point, the time that you have available. So we chose to go about it a different way. But it's all the same process. It's all that same foundation of how do you find these products? How do you sell them on Amazon? And how do you do that a lot more so that you can grow your business? It's, the thing that I see a lot of questions on is, why hasn't my sales grown? I've continued to send in replens. Why am I stagnant in my sales? But I think a lot of people send in the same amount of inventory. So if you're always spending $5,000 a month, you're pretty much always going to sell $10,000 to $15,000 a month. So the way to grow is to consistently grow how much you're spending on inventory and sending into Amazon. And I think a lot of people look at the work they're putting in, but don't ever really realize the expenses that go into continuing to grow that. And it's a very streamlined, systematized approach, and we've seen a lot of success with it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, congrats on your success. It's fun to watch you. But guys, Jimmy's not the only one. We got thousands of success stories. Let's real quick share with you. Success basically leaves clues, and that's the point of tonight, to let you know, what Jimmy has done and what these other folks have done is something you can also follow. Think about the Hansel and Gretel, that story, where they, it had the breadcrumbs and you can follow it. I mean, it's the same way in this business. If you do what Jimmy did, you will get some of the measure success that he had. You can duplicate it exactly and do the same thing if that's your goal, to have employees and have a warehouse. There's a lot of folks in our Legends group that have no desire to have employees and have a warehouse. They want to continue to do it out of their home, or they most likely want to get it completely out of their house and use a prep center. And that is a possibility to where you don't have to have employees. You're just outsourcing the prep and ship to them. Your house stays clean and nice, and you can source online. And so basically, look at some of the success stories we're going to share tonight, and like, does any of them resonate with you? Like, that's a person that looks like me. They have the same number of kids. They come from the same background. Pick somebody that is like somebody you can look up to and say, I want to do that. But some of you might be, I do want to have a warehouse and I do want to have employees. Well, Jimmy's a perfect example of somebody that you can say, hey, I want to model what he did. But in Legends, we have we call a Hall of Freedoms, like our Hall of Fame. These are folks that have been able to quit their job because of their Amazon business. And this is just a small sampling. I have like 4 different slides of this. And these are just folks regular folks that are working really hard, that now don't have a regular 9-to-5 because of this. And so, Stephen Alsobrook lives in the UK. He does this all overseas. Dennis and Kylie Jordan, they basically live in their RV. I mean, they spend a lot of time in their RV traveling the country as a family. I'm not going to go over every single person on here, but Adam and Emily Brusso are now coaches with Jim Cockrum Coaching. So that's a whole other stream of income for them. Justin Van Sluten, we got to meet him at our Legends family reunion in end of June. And, he's got a large family and able to provide for them because of his Amazon business. They homeschool. So just, does anybody here look like your family? Honey's got 6 kids, a mom of 6, homeschools, and she's able to do that because of her Amazon business. Of course, there's Jimmy and Brittany, and there's me and my family. Our silly Greg Perry from our group, those of you that know Greg. We got Neil Stevens, he's in the UK. Mike and Perry May Britton are in the UK. You can do this from all over the world. We got Ryan Robinson. He's our Walmart expert in our Legends community. We got folks like Dan and Christy Hertzler. Like Christy, she built a very solid Amazon business, and she built it though so that she can now, she's pivoted a lot in her business. I don't even know, honestly, where her business is at as far as, how, it may not be as big as it was, but she's now focusing on her mindset coaching program that she has. So a lot of folks come into Amazon with the desire to use it as a means to an end. They want to do what Jimmy's doing. They want to have a course. They want to have books. They want to be out there, or maybe you have a completely different goal. You want to maybe go on the mission field and you want your Amazon business to provide for you. Jimmy, I think you had a guy on your podcast, didn't you, about that did that it's in the mission field now, or?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I believe Aaron Lippman. It's been a while though.
I have a friend of mine in Japan who's a missionary. So guys, whatever your goals are, it may not be to sell on Amazon for the next 10 years. You may just build it up to a certain point and you could sell it. You can do other things with it. You can outsource it to where it's still bringing in income for you. It can look so many different ways, and you can build it around your schedule. Yeah. We got Mark and Risa Miller are pastors. Joe just recently quit his job in, I think, August of last year. So he's new to it, but we want to see more names here. And then there's so many more people in the group that are at this level. They just haven't sent me their picture. We got lots of success stories. And let me share.
Well, and real quick too, what I love about these slides that you've shown, there's multiple different ways that these people have grown their business.
Oh, totally.
The refunds, which is what we're mainly focused on right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've talked about eBay. There's Walmart sellers. There's people that have done this from their RVs. There's people that have done it through wholesale. There's been, I believe, what was a virtual assistant services and stuff like that, right? There's been so many different opportunities that have come out of Legends. Replens is the main foundation, I think, for a lot of people up front. Mm-hmm. But you learn a lot in how to make money online.
For sure. And
Anyway.
Jimmy, you have a cool site called askjimmysmith.com/success. I want to share that right now. And we are not going to go through over 500 success stories here. I'm just going to scroll through here. As I'm doing this, is there anybody that stands out or anything you want to say
Actually, if you
about
go
this?
to the top real quick.
Yeah.
Well, we've actually had over 1,000 success stories come through the Replens content, and I could only fit 525 on my page here. Okay, so that's why I put over 500. But you can see on that second one right there that one's in the UK, right?
Yeah.
So you can see the little flag, and so you can see different international sellers. You can see also different levels. So if you did $1,000 in sales and you're just talking about it, or you've got your first shipment, or you're doing 20,000 a month versus $100,000 a month. We've got ones on here that are over 100. I think I also had one that was 300. That was that was year to date. So there's so many on here. If you just want to scroll through them and look at the numbers,
It's too much.
Yeah, I mean it's so many.
$80,000 a month.
Yep. 54, 5,100. Like it just I wanted to give all levels, because success means so many different things to so many different people, and obviously they're posting because it's a success story for them. And so I went through
give me an idea, like, okay, real quick, we would think, because again, these are just sales numbers. So tell me real fast what you think this person at $5,100 in month in sales should be making profit.
Should be. So if they're doing the work themselves, it should be between 25 to 35% profit margin. So that would be my estimation. That's what I would look for if I were
like 15, maybe $1,500 there.
Yeah,
profit.
Probably pretty good. That's what
I mean, could use an extra $1,500 a month profit. This one right here, we're looking at probably 1,800. They're at 30%, 1,800 a month profit.
Yeah. Now, there's no telling. I have no idea what each of these people are making profit-wise. Some people get in here and they're like, you know what, I just want to learn the process. So I'm going to buy stuff. I'm going to break even. I don't care. But the majority of people in here are, obviously doing this for the profit. So
sure, of course. Otherwise, you wouldn't. I mean, that's obviously,
yeah, exactly.
Trying to build a business. Profit's a good thing. Yeah. Just to give you an idea, like these are general sales. These are gross sales figures, but.
There's a 200. If you scroll up, I don't remember if that was in a month.
200 in the last 30 days.
Yeah, 200,000.
Wow.
So there's so many. And then you can see that one right below it on that line, not right below it, but two over. It's got my first ever 50K month. Best part is over 80% or year-round items, 25 to 27% margin. So that's that tells you something, right?
That's awesome.
So it's a huge page. If people want to go to it, it's at askjimmysmith.com/success. I need to add a video talking about it a little bit more, but it's a cool page.
So cool. These would be good podcast guests too.
Yeah, they would. Although I blurred out all the names and faces, it would take me forever.
So you'd have to go back and try to remember who they are.
It would take me forever to reach out to them individually.
Oh, sure.
But there's 20,000 in Canada. You just went past. There's $100,000 a month as well. So you can do it from anywhere, any age. I'm sure some of these talk about ages and how they've got the business.
Oh, sure.
But if you really want to take the time to read through them.
Yeah. So that's askjimmysmith.com/success.
Yeah.
But
you can see a lot of the attached success stories. So that the reason I included at the bottom of each of those screenshots, at least as much as I could, it says attached topic success stories. That's because that's what I attached them to in my Replens Facebook group. So people
got it.
People know that.
Believe it or not, there are hundreds more.
Yeah. If you scroll up one more, one more line.
Yeah.
Scroll up right there. I don't know what that flag is, but it's in a different.
That's Germany.
Germany. Okay, thank you. So that's I like seeing the flags because it stands out. But anyway, if you want to see it, check it out. You can read through it all.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we haven't even gotten to the framework yet. We just.
I know. Let's go through that because that's the guts of this, and we want you. This is how to be successful. So, steps to success. This is our legend success path. So, Jimmy, do you want to break this down and go over because this is basically the steps for everybody, no matter if you're just starting or you are where you are. And so, what does each of these levels look like?
So what I love about this is it kind of corresponds to a lot of the things that I talk about in the Replens course that we did together. But what I want to focus people's attention on, because I know there's a lot of words, right? So like from a PowerPoint standpoint, this is probably the worst slide we could ever include, but it's the best one to show like what you're focused on, because we want you to see the whole picture, right? The things that you're going through, the characteristics, the milestones, the action items. So within each level, Ryan has given the action items that you need to be taking to hit that particular, I guess, what would I call that? Band of success, right?
Mhm.
So there's a warrior, the very first one is warrior, the foundations of your business. Some of you may already be past this point. And so I want to point you to the middle column, which is the milestones, because the very first milestone is to get your first sale, but also do your second shipment, because we want to make sure that you're not just doing one shipment. We want you to do a second one as well. And then set a goal, whatever your goal is. I personally recommend that the goal should be action items, because you can control that, as I mentioned earlier, versus saying, I want to sell $10,000 a month, right? If you say, I want to find 30 replens in 30 days, that is a good goal because you can take the action to hit it. But the first milestone, we make that first band very simple. But what I love about it is it's simple enough that you can accomplish it decently quickly, but you're still going to know more than, I don't know, 95% of the people out there for how to sell on Amazon, right? Especially businesses. You're going to know so much more after doing 2 shipments, getting a sale, having your goals. There's things that go into it. Now, I typically would say that after that first band, hopefully, once you're doing a couple different shipments, you're going to be over a certain goal already, a revenue goal. I think personally with me, that second band, the gladiator building confidence one, the milestones there is confident with Keepa, which we haven't explained in this webinar, but for those of you that don't know, I talk about it on my YouTube channel at Ask Jimmy Smith, talk about it in the course in Legends. Keepa is the most important software, in my opinion, to utilize so that you can see that sales history. You can see the pricing history. You can see the seller history. So you can have confidence in the buying or in the inventory that you're buying. And so at that level, you'll probably be around $1,000 to $2,000 a month, in my opinion, because you're going to be confident with Keepa at that level. You're going to be sourcing and shipping consistently at that level. And what I love too about Legends and the group is that we've got Keepa quizzes for people. So if you pass those quizzes, you can go through, see different graphs and what they look like and give your response if you would buy it or not. So your goal is to pass those and to fill out a shipping calendar, which I assume, I actually haven't looked at that, Ryan. Is that the calendar of their goals to do their shipments each?
Essentially, yeah. It's just as another thing we've noticed that people, and you're going to talk about this in another slide, is that they're consistent with shipments. It's not like, we see people like Kate who have, I think she's not shipping every single day. She's got people that come to her house. She's got a basement and it's turned into her warehouse, but essentially people are consistent. It's not like, hey, the last time I sent out a shipment was 2 weeks ago. That just doesn't work if you want to hit your goals. So we typically see people say that I'm going to source on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, ship Thursday and Friday, for example, or whatever. They have some type of schedule that they're keeping to.
Okay, awesome. And also the spending goal sheet, which spending is one of the main things that you've got to do, because the spending leads to you buying inventory, which leads to you selling that inventory, right? If you're buying the right things. So those first 2 bands can be relatively quick, depending on how you view your Amazon business, how quickly you're going through that. It could be within a 2-month period. It could be within a 6-month period. Really depends on how much time that you put towards it, but it can go fairly quickly. Now, the third level there, Centurion and outsourcing. I love the outsourced one piece in that milestone, because the key to scaling any business is outsourcing things, right? Creating systems and outsourcing them. Now, the outsourcing one piece could be outsourcing to a software, could be outsourcing to a virtual assistant. It doesn't have to be you're hiring an employee and you're getting a warehouse, right? It can be I'm outsourcing my repricing of my inventory to a software program, or I'm going to get a virtual assistant to help me source more products or to handle account management. Very simple to do. Understanding your numbers is the next one. I would hope that you will have been buying profitable products throughout this time, but you really need to have a good feel for your numbers, whether you're adding in new software costs and how much you're spending. And we've got the course within Legends for that. It's not one that I did, it was one with Chris Lovelace, right?
The know your numbers, yes.
Yes. Okay. So we did an outsourcing course together, me, you, and Honey, right? But then the first course was with Chris. So that's where you can learn about understanding your numbers, completing your goal worksheet. You can tell there's goals in every action item. I just want to point that out
Mhm.
because goals are important. And then setting up your repricer would be outsourcing that one piece. So a bunch of different ways to do that. Again, that can be accomplished fairly quickly once you feel that you're ready. Personally, I recommend a repricer once you get over 100 active SKUs. So if that gives you any indication, that could happen in 2 months, that could happen in 6, like I mentioned earlier. So that can go very, quickly depending on your time involved. The fourth one is the Spartan, the systems. So systems in place is the milestone. We want you to be having some less hours in your business so that you can start to look at either other opportunities. You can start to bolt this one down. And maybe it's not necessarily less hours working in your business. It might be less hours working on the tasks you shouldn't be doing in your business, right? You can still work a lot in the business and go find a bunch more products. But we want you to be building systems and looking at inventory management. So there's easy worksheets for that I give in the course. There's Replan Dashboard, the software company that Ryan mentioned earlier that I'm a part of and help to build. Whatever it is that helps you to manage your repurchasing of products is what you need to be at for that specific milestone. Creating standard operating procedures, tons of content in Legends for that, and in the Replens group as well. And then again, the goal worksheet. What are you trying to hit? And once you complete that milestone, then moving on to the next one. And then the last one, which is Legend or Freedom, it's you've reached your Amazon goals, whatever that looks like to you. Maybe you wanted to make $10,000 a month in sales, which is about, $2,000 to $3,000 a month in profit, or maybe you wanted to hit $100,000 a month. And then adding one or more streams of income. Those can be, fairly simple, or you can, create something that's a little bit more complex. It's really up to you. And Ryan's got all the content for that in the streams of income group and on his podcast and his book. So those are I guess that would be the framework, the foundation for building it within the Replens course that we did together, Ryan. What I love about it is I actually gave different stages. If you're trying to go from $0 to $100,000 per month, well, the first stage is 0 to 10. That's where you're doing those first 2 bands, most likely. Right? And then from 10 to 40, you're focusing on outsourcing in that third band. You're outsourcing from 10 to 40. Now, that could also mean that you hit the next 2 bands there if your goal was to make, hit $25,000 a month or something. But the next stage is 40 to 70, and then 70 to 100, and then 100 and beyond. And that's exactly what I cover throughout the whole course. The majority of it, though, is figuring out that first $10,000 a month. How do you find these products? How do you, send them in, all that kind of stuff. And so, that's the path. Hopefully, if anybody's got questions, happy to answer it. But do you have any other thoughts?
I would say look at these milestones, and I'll put this link on the page I'm going to share later. And also I'm going to probably use this as my podcast episode for this week. And I will put this success path in that podcast page. So you guys could go to streamsofincomeradio.com. You'll be able to see this. It'll be the most recent episode. But would you say, Jimmy, just like going down through each one of these essentially is your to-do list for an Amazon seller?
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably a lot more we could add to it, but from a higher level perspective.
Yeah, I would say that's the case. I mean, those are pretty much your goals, right? I need to do a sale, I need to do my second shipment, and I need to hit, whether it's, I personally think, a sourcing goal of 30 replens in 30 days, but you could set your goals based off sales if you wanted to. Just realize your actions have to follow that goal as well. So it's up to you. But I think those are perfect.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, not watching this video, first sale, get your second shipment out, set a goal for your business, or at least set a goal for the first part of your business. That's the first milestone of warrior level. The next level is you're learning keeper. You're becoming confident with it, but you're taking action. You're sourcing and shipping consistently. The next level, centurion, you've outsourced one piece of your business. You understand your numbers. The next level, you're putting systems in place. You got inventory management in place. And the last level is you've reached your Amazon goals, and you've added one or more streams of income to your business. So that's basically it. This is your path forward. And this is what I see everybody do. No matter where they are, they're somewhere on this path. And if you follow these steps, you're going to be successful. There's just no way you won't be. If you're doing the same things that everybody else is doing, you're going to get what they had. So
what I love about this slide, I guess, or this chart, you've got the milestones, but you've also got the action items that they need to be doing to hit those milestones, right? So there's a lot of different things that can be done, right? And I love that it's focused. And so I think I don't remember when you added this because it wasn't in the initial Legends group.
Right.
but
No,
I thought it was
recently, the last year and a half or so.
okay. Yeah. It was a really cool chart and I always liked it. So
All right, but there are challenges in an Amazon business. So what are those that you see the most with folks?
yeah, so the three most, I guess, pertinent or likely challenges that we see is getting impatient is the first one. And so I told you this earlier, Ryan, but I released a YouTube video at Ask Jimmy Smith, my channel, Monday about the number one trait in successful Amazon sellers is being patient. And so the challenge here is that people get impatient. The reason I say that is because it can be very easy to come into the community to see all these success stories and to say, oh, cool, I'm expecting to be a success story in a month, right? But there's a lot of different things that can go into that. And we walk you through it, as you just saw with the Legends chart, as well as the replens course content. And so people can get impatient. Maybe it's because you're trying to do retail arbitrage and you're out in stores and you're checking products, or you're doing online arbitrage. You're just you're getting tired of sitting down or whatever, and looking at your computer. People get impatient with it. So you need to realize, set your goals based off action items and set it for a set amount of time. I personally think a year is best, but if you want to do 6 months, that's fine. That helps you from getting impatient. It helps you to focus on the things you can control the most, which allows you to grow in the right activities versus focused on results. Now, the next one is that there's no schedule. So for many people, this might be difficult. For some people, it's going to be real easy. I'm a very scheduled and routine person. I've got my planner. Actually, you can see it right here. For anybody that can watch, I've got the planner right here. It's actually a Walmart planner, nothing special. It cost me $10. I've got the last 5 years on my bookshelf. And so I keep that schedule very diligently. I also have one online. You don't have to do that. But the reason that I say this is that if you don't have a schedule, you're just going to be trying to go, willy-nilly. One day you're trying to source products, the next day you're trying to ship them. You take a couple of days off because you had some things come up. And so as you just saw in that chart, Ryan talked about the prep and ship schedule. That is one of the things that you're going to be able to set up. And you can do that, right now if you wanted to. But having a schedule helps tremendously. And then the last one is procrastinating. And procrastinating kind of goes with no schedule a little bit, because if you don't schedule it, it's very easy to just push off activities. And one of my issues whenever I quit my job was that I procrastinated doing shipments because I was tired of doing them, right? And so
that's never the fun part of the business.
Right, exactly. And we decided to outsource that. And it was the best decision we have ever made, was to outsource that piece. But some people I know I've talked to in the community, I think they're a little crazy, but they love the shipping, right? So maybe they're procrastinating sourcing. Either way, procrastination is going to be a challenge for many people. And I think if you're focused on the activity levels that you're doing, as I mentioned earlier, and you have a schedule to actually accomplish those activity levels, and then you have the discipline to actually do those activities, I don't see why there's any reason that, you couldn't hit those Legends milestones moving forward with the opportunity here. So those are the main challenges. I'm sure there's other things, right? Life gets in the way, things happen. But those are the main challenges for the majority of people that would be watching.
Yep. I agree. What gets scheduled gets done. And I think after people quit their job, they're so used to a schedule with their job, and now feel like, I'm free, yay. And you can just do whatever you want. And maybe that works for some folks, but it's definitely helpful to have I see people who have a set schedule. I'm going to go sourcing these days. We're going to ship out these days. If you stick to that, you're going to do much better. It doesn't mean you can't have flexibility. You can't go to the zoo one day. You can't take vacations. You want to do those things. But
we have time for a quick story.
Go for it, please.
Yeah. So actually at the Proven Conference, I talked about a little bit more of the outsourcing story. And whenever I quit my job, and I went through the whole emotions of having to quit my job, essentially, the build up to it. But after I quit my job, so I remember that feeling of sweet, I'm free, like you just described. Then the first day that I was off, I woke up and I was like, oh no, what do I do? I've been so used to going into work and knowing exactly what I have to do. What am I supposed to do? So I just started with breakfast, right? But it's pretty cool. I don't have all of them to show right now, but if I look back at my planners from whenever I quit my job, they were very empty. Maybe a couple of things written down, and over the years I can look at it and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff now. So to me, it's just, if you don't have a schedule, it's a scary feeling once you quit your job. So setting that schedule helped me tremendously. And I just want to encourage people.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Let me go back this way. Okay, so review. Let's wrap this up here, and I want to tell you about something cool we put together for you. So, Jimmy, if you had to sum this up in 30 seconds, what would you say?
The e-commerce opportunity has continued to grow over the last 10 to 20 years at this point, and it will continue to grow. And I have never seen something out of all the different courses I've taken that has been consistently producing success stories like the replenishable arbitrage method. And I've never seen groups like Legends and like the Replens course that have consistently produced success stories. And my silent team, right? The core, all of the things that we do. So to me, that is the opportunity. If you have the determination to put in the work and learn the simple processes, but to actually work hard to make this work for you, the opportunity has never been better and will continue to grow from my vantage point.
Totally agree.
All right. So for those of you that might have joined a little bit late, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, we actually did that webinar for Ryan's community. And I thought that it went so well that I was like, I'm going to forget something that we had mentioned on that webinar. So I wanted to make sure that I broadcasted that to you. But we are going to be answering the questions. I see a few of them have come in. But before we get to those questions, Ryan, I know that we had mentioned at the end of that we have a pretty cool offer for everybody. So I'd like for you to kind of go through that, since it is so tied together with your Legends community.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to pull up the sales page? Was that they kind of go through what the Legends group is? Some people watching this may already know. But yeah, guys, this is when people ask me, Jimmy, like, what's the Legends group? I feel like it's so hard to explain. I just tell people you just kind of got to try it to see what it's like. We call it the family, the Legends family. And if you don't enjoy your family, you might think, oh, I don't need another family. But this is a really fun family. We enjoy each other. And it's a group of, I would say, guys, honestly, no matter what you do, whether you join what Jimmy and I have put together or not, find a group of people that are doing this together, no matter what, any business that you're in. Community is so key. I promise you, you will do so much better. You'll move faster. If you have a group of people you're doing this with that you can check in with, that can hold you accountable. And so that's in any business, no matter which way you're headed. If you are selling physical products on Amazon, I really don't think there's better groups than what Jimmy and I provide. And so we stand by it, because if you looked at those massive amount of success stories, I think that proves the point. We don't even have to tell how awesome we think these groups are, and just look at the people that have gone through it and what they've done because of it. And that is super fun. Just to, that makes us happy to see our students be successful, and we want you to be successful. So that's why we offered this. So maybe scroll down just a tad bit. Essentially, if I had to point out what Legends is, it's the family, a 24/7 coach. There's software. There's hours and hours and hours and hours of content. Go down to the perks, and I'll just go through a couple of these. And there's account management service that Jimmy and I have with VAs. You get discounts to my legendary VA service for a virtual assistant. We have an Amazon consultant for suspension services. We've got bookkeeping and accounting specialists. You got discounts on accounting. Jimmy's mom is an accountant, and she's in our group, and we send people to her all the time because she's awesome. We've got 3 different courses. It's almost like Legends is a library of content. So we have an outsourcing course that Jimmy and I did along with our friend Honey Woods. We've got a Walmart course on there because Walmart allows third-party sellers now. So that's a course inside there. We got a Know Your Numbers course with our friend Chris Lovelace. We've got Prep Center discounts. Some of you, I saw a quote, or somebody in the comments, Will was saying that, there's an old saying, the less I do, the more I make. Outsource. A lot of people are using prep centers to get this out of their home. They're doing online arbitrage. They're sending things they're buying stuff online, and they're having it shipped to a prep center, so they don't even touch the inventory. If you live outside of the USA, I know there's somebody in here that's from the UK that's watching, and you're selling on Amazon.com here in the US, you would probably do that. You're not going to do what we call retail arbitrage. You're going to be doing online arbitrage to order it completely online. But there's just so much. We're constantly adding new things to this group, but it's an amazing community. So that's the Legends. Oh, you got access to the Facebook group. Jimmy, do you want to talk about the video? You always like the speeding up video.
The membership site. Yeah, so this was one of my favorite things in the Legends group is that you can actually go to this membership site where all the videos, you can just search a keyword and it'll pull up any video that has that keyword in it. So and at the exact point where that word is mentioned. So I love that about the Legends community. Also, you get 50% off to Replen Dashboard, which is a huge perk for as long as you stay in the Legends group. And so if you've seen any of my videos on the channel about Replen Dashboard, it's a huge piece for us managing all of our inventory, especially for replens and wholesale. And so you get 50% off for being in the Legends group. That's actually the biggest discount out there. So I wanted to at least point that out. But yeah, the fact that you can search videos is awesome within Legends because there's so much content. It's so important to be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll here to the bottom so that they've already seen all the success stories and everything. So this is our current offer, I guess, the promotion. So I'll let you go ahead and talk about that, Ryan.
Do you want to talk about, so we kind of covered Legends. Like, guys, it's one of those things I feel like you got to try it to get in and then see if it's a fit for you. Then, of course, this offer includes Jimmy's Replens group and course. Do you want to, people that follow you know what that's probably about, but just in case there's somebody that's new.
Yeah, so the 0 to 100K per month in Replens course and group, that is something that Ryan and I started 3.5 years ago, something like that. I guess it was 3 years and a month or two ago. And since the course has come out, we've seen over 1,000 success stories, but I've added over 70 or 80 extra videos on top of that course. So I continue to add those each month. I'm in the group almost every day answering questions, and I literally do my best to see every question that comes through. If I don't answer it, I just like somebody else's comment that has answered it properly. So I am very active in that group. And like I said, almost every day. I usually take a day off each week from the group. But other than that, we've got continuing content, but we've got a webinar next week on what is it? It's OA sourcing with a budget that I'm excited to do. I'm planning one with Jeff Schick, an account health attorney. We've got so much content in there. It's ridiculous, honestly, how much we've got in there, and we continue to add to it. And then, also the proven Q4 plan, which is kind of the additional bonus that we wanted to throw in with this. So Ryan, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's just so Q4 is the hottest selling quarter of the year. A lot of people make a lot of retail stores make most of their money in Q4. And so for us as e-commerce sellers, it's an awesome opportunity. Deals are plentiful. So in this group, we just help you prepare for Q4, help you during Q4. Jimmy is a big piece of this. He provides the lion's share of the content in this group. And so we're just going to help you have a successful Q4 no matter where you are in your journey. And so this is a $400 to $500 program, but to get it as part of this combo. Legends by itself, I could bring up the slides, but I'll just do since you already got it up here. Legends is $197 a month. The Replens group is $27 a month, and the proven Q4 plan is between $400 and $500. I don't think the price point's been set completely yet for this year. So $400 to $500 for that.
Then
Replens is all up. What's that?
Replens is $19 a month.
$19 a month. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, $19 a month.
So add all that up, and it's a decent amount of money, decent investment. But if you join with our 30-day trial link, you can get it $22 for the first month, and you'll have a full 30 days to test out all of this. And it's amzlegends.com/replens combo. Yeah, just try it out and see if it's a fit for you. And if not, no big deal. But we really feel that we'll go over and above providing service to you, and hopefully you'll stick around. But we want to help you, and we know that those that get in groups like this are successful, will be successful faster. So just want to invite you to be a part of it.
Yeah, and after the $22 for that first month, essentially you get the Replens content and the Q4 plan included into the just regular Legends price anyway. Correct. So that's the additional bonus. It's not just the trial, right? You've got a ton of extra content that is included at the traditional Legends price that's out there. So, right. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some questions. I think we covered most of that for everybody. So it's at amzlegends.com/replens combo, which you can see on the screen. Go ahead and remove that. and we'll get into some of the questions. So I'm going to go in order that I can see. So let's see. The first one, B, how much does one have to spend to gross $200,000 with this model? And I believe that question came in whenever there was a $200,000 per month success story. So typically what you'll see is anywhere between 35 to 40%, or I guess 30 to 40% is what people are spending on their inventory to hit that sales goal level. So in this case, I would have said it would have probably been about $70,000 is what they were spending, 60 to 80, to be able to hit $200,000 with a good enough profit margin and return on investment. I mean, you can hit $200,000 in sales and spend 300, but obviously that's not the best way to go about it. So typically what you'll see is, about $60,000 to $80,000 is what they should be spending to hit 200. And so for us, I know with our business at 100, we are typically spending between 30 to 40. And so 60 to 80 makes sense for the $200,000. And that could be annual, right? If you're not going for $200,000 a month, but you wanted, about $20,000 per month, well, then just take a zero off of that. And you have to be spending between 6 and 8 to get to 20,000, right? So it's fairly easy to transition to those different levels. Okay, now the next question was Tony Walker, and I didn't know this answer, so I wanted to ask you, Brian, is the print of the success path available with the numerical guidelines you mentioned? I know we could probably write in the numbers ourselves, but it's a powerful resource.
I posted back in there, Tony, and I said I could send the PDF if he emailed me. I don't have the numbers in there, but it would be very easy for me to add those and make that available.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So those numbers are pretty simple to find, at least for me. And I'll tell you right now, real quick, there's 0 to 10,000 is the first band, in case anybody wants to write them down. This is what we go through in the Replens course in the group. So 0 to 10,000 is stage 1, 10 to 40 is stage 2, 40 to 70 is stage 3, 70 to 100 is stage 4. And then 100 and beyond would be the 5th stage.
So I might also say, Jimmy, too, that we made the success path. We didn't specifically put sales numbers in there because I didn't want somebody to think that if I don't hit Jimmy Smith numbers, I'm not successful, because that's just not the case. Because not everybody, and we said that in the webinar too, that not everybody wants to have the business that you have. They come at this from a different goal. And there are a lot of sellers who've been selling longer than you have, but aren't making as much as you, aren't having as many sales. Would you say that they're not as successful as you are? I'd say, no, you don't think that. They have a different business model. They have different goals. Their situations are different. So guys, if you look at that and be like, oh my gosh, I can't be a success unless I'm at 70 to 100,000 in sales a month or what, that's just not true. And so the success path specifically, we didn't put numbers in there because we didn't want somebody to think that, oh, I have to be at that sales figure before I advance to that next level. All Jimmy is saying is that typically that's where somebody is if they're trying to grow their business. To those larger numbers that he talks about. But don't beat yourself up if you're not there, because my business looks nothing like his. I don't have employees. I don't have a warehouse. I don't have any of that.
Lucky. I'm just kidding.
But it's just different. It's just a different business model.
Yeah.
And you go to the Proven conference that we had, with Jim Cockrum a few weeks ago. You point out a bunch of different successful people. You probably could find a ton of differences between each one, and they're just doing different things, and they come at it at a different angle, but are still very successful. So that's what's cool about this business, is there's just so many different ways to do this.
Yeah, exactly. And so the 0 to 10K and all those stages that I went through, it's what I go through in my book, Side Hustle to Full-Time Income. So if anybody's interested, we've had 180 reviews on it at this point. It's, an average of 5 stars on the book. And so that's what I go through. As Ryan mentioned, we don't have, we don't say you have to get to $100,000 per month. For many people, it could be 10 or 20,000 is their goal, or 1,000, right? Just getting some extra income coming in is a success. And so I just wanted to reiterate what Ryan had just said. Tony had asked this question, and I'll put it up there. I know you answered it in the chat, but are there discounts mentioned for the Legends services based only on selling into the USA? And then you said
no discounts. No matter, we have folks that are selling outside of the US, like on Amazon.co.uk, for example. They can take advantage of software that works for the UK platform. They can take advantage of the VA services. let's see, I just have to think about each one. There's even prep centers in the UK. We don't have anybody in the Legends group that's doing that specifically, but I could think of at least one couple that I know that have a UK prep center. So no, you can still get discounts outside the US.
Okay, perfect. And then Tony asked, if you do the trial and like it, could you then pay an annual subscription or payment? And you said you answered in there, but for anybody watching that didn't see it. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. We do have annual options as well.
Perfect. And B, I appreciate that. You said that you've listened to it on Audible. It's an informative listen. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome, B. It is also on Audible, my book. So if anybody's interested.
Did you read it? Did you read the book?
Me?
For Audible? Yeah, did you?
I did. Yeah, I read it myself. Yeah, out loud. So that took me. Took a while.
That's long.
Yeah. And it was an expensive editing process too. It's about $1 a minute if you want somebody to
Oh
edit.
my gosh. So, I did my book. It's like 80 pages and it's small little tiny thing that fits in the palm of your hand. That only took me maybe an hour and a half at the recording studio, but I can't imagine doing your book.
No, yeah, it's 245 pages.
Wow. How long did it take to record that?
It's about it took me about 10 hours. But it was, I think 8 once it was cut down. So yeah, it's and for anybody that actually buys the book, whether it's the ebook or the physical version, there is a free Audible or a free audio book that comes with it. I don't believe it's on Audible itself, but it's a free audio book, free jumpstart course, all of that. If you buy just the Audible version or use it with your credits, you get the jumpstart course in there as well. So it's just whatever people's preferences are. So
nice.
Awesome. Well, I think that covers all the questions that I'm seeing right now from the first live video that I've done on this. Ryan, you were actually, I believe, my first Biblical Business Leaders podcast guest as well. Awesome. So this is becoming a tradition. Anytime I decide to do something new, you're the first guest, apparently.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody, thank you so much for being here, for listening. If you have any questions, whether you're watching the recording or you have any after you're done digesting some of this, please post those in the comments. I'll be able to make sure that I answer those. And yeah, just excited to see you in the groups if you decide to join. And if not, check out the rest of the content on this YouTube channel. I've put out plenty of free content on replens and Keepa and how to go from 0 to 10,000 and all this stuff that I do regularly a couple times a week. And check out ryanreger.com to see his podcast and get a hold of his book, Streams of Income, as well. So, and the podcast is Streams of Income Radio for anybody that's interested. So thank you, everybody. Super excited to have you here. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.
All right. See you guys.